What's going on, everyone? Robert from the Remote Control here, and with me, as always, is... I can't think of anything today. Colton Bird, what's going on?
Oh, hey, man. I'm sorry that my intro is as disappointing as your whole life has been, Bob.
Yeah, it has been pretty disappointing lately.
Hey.
Anyway, this is the podcast where two nerds just sit around and geek out about movies, TVs, video games, and comics, and a bunch of other stuff as well. Okay, this episode is going to be really weird, guys. I apologize. I am exhausted. Colton's exhausted.
We injected too many marijuanas. We're kidding. We're kidding. We've been basically up since about Saturday night.
Well, no. We each slept about 13 hours yesterday into today. But, yeah, I mean, we went and played Airsoft on Sunday. Now, we both worked until about midnight, 1 o'clock on Saturday night. We decided to take a trek up to Hubbard, Ohio, which is where this field called Battlefield Paintball is. Or Battlefront Paintball. Sorry. Battlefront Paintball is. And we decided to take the trek up there. 2.5 hour drive for us at 1 in the morning.
Yeah, we were strolling in there tired.
So not only do we get there, we get there at like 3:30, 4 in the morning, but it's raining and snowing at the same time. So
yes, and it's like negative 14 degrees outside.
It wasn't that cold, but
it was like 32. It was at least 30.
It was cold as shit. Now, I had a buddy of mine set up one of his spare tents because I was like, hey, when we get there, we'll just camp out.
Hey, and lo and behold, the tent became a pool.
Yeah. So we go like immediately lay down to go to sleep. I couldn't take it. First off, I haven't camped out since I was like 16 years old.
Yeah, because you's a bitch.
So I'm not used to sleeping on the hard ground anymore. So I got up and went back into the car to sleep. Colton tried to stay out there actually for a little while, and
hey, I was out there for a while. If I wasn't like swimming, I would have
probably
stayed
about
out
2 hours. You were out there, and then all of a sudden, I guess it just turned into a swimming pool.
Yeah, no, the whole bottom of the tent was water.
So he came into the car and slept in the car. So
I wouldn't say even slept in the car.
Yeah, essentially, I got about 2 hours, 2.5 hours of sleep. He got probably about 1 hour, if that. So then our big day, now a lot of the video game fans here will appreciate this because the whole thing for this Airsoft tournament, Airsoft game, the reason why we were there so early because we needed to be there by 9 a.m. in the morning because we were playing a Wasteland setup, which I thought was a really cool idea.
It was phenomenal.
So we had 4 different factions. You had mercenaries, you had scavs, which are scavengers, you had a foreign military force, and then you had
North Korea,
and then you had the military, or the
civilians,
the American.
You
civilians.
should know that you were on the civilian team.
I was getting my things mixed, my words mixed up. So it was a really cool thing. I want to say we had probably about 40, 50 people there.
Yeah, easally. Because every team had about about 10 people.
Yeah, which was really, really cool to do, and it was just trying to set up like a Fallout type of feel environment to it.
It was a good time.
So it was a great time. If you've never played Airsoft,
I traded teams like 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, you traitor. Yeah, actually, he wasn't on my team.
I killed Bob first.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
He was my first kill of the day.
It was me, of course.
And then I don't know, like 10 of us shot you the second time. I'm not gonna call that kill, but I probably partook in it.
So there's this there. Now this field is huge. I don't know how many acres it is. It's a huge field. It used to be I believe it was like an ammo ammo making center of some sort. And it blew up years and years ago. That's what's really cool about this field. But we were there, and this field's huge. So we're back in the woods. There's a woods portion of it with this creek that runs through it. And my team's walking by, and we made a truce with Colton's team.
Now I'm offended.
I don't know what's going on with my words today, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man.
But we made a truce with Colton's team, the Scavs. And
yeah, right there was your problem, right there.
Yeah, no. First off, the Scavs can't be trusted because all they want is meth and pumpkins and
yeah. We were running around looking for cocaine. I was handing out condoms too. It was awesome.
So we come across the Scavs while on our journey. Now, mind you, the deal that we made with the Scavs was to find pumpkins and gas tanks. So we were going around legitimately looking for pumpkins and gas tanks.
And little did they know we had all but 2 of them.
They decide to turn on us. Now, I'm with my group. There's about 6 of us. and they get like they separate me from my group. Now I'm stuck between the scavs, which is about 10 or 15 of them.
Now, do keep in mind there was 10 of us in the open, and not one of the 10 of us shot at you.
True, but the one that was hidden, the one guy that was hidden, or two.
And what's sad is we didn't think he was going to fire.
Yeah, they're the one. He's the one, or they're the ones that shot us and separated us. Now I had a decision to make. Do I try and make a run to catch up to my team, or do I backtrack and risk going against the foreign military that was behind me at the city? So I was screwed. Like I was like, what do I do? I was like, well, it'll probably be better to be with my team. So I make a run for it. Like I just start booking it down the trail.
And lo and behold, we unload on you.
Literally every single player went tick, 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 and I just got lit the fuck up.
It was that's what I'm saying. I don't know who hit you, but I definitely partook in it. I won't take the kill though.
So I definitely saw my life flash before my eyes there, but
it was fun. The scavs held up the military. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. I highly recommend playing Airsoft if you guys haven't. We're part of a group on Facebook called PA TAC, which is a huge Western Pennsylvania, actually just Pennsylvania, Airsoft group on Facebook. And yeah, we do a lot of events. There's an event almost every single weekend that is held. So it's a lot of fun.
If it's not every weekend, it's every other weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and they hold an event. They're now starting to hold events up at that Battlefront paintball up in Hubbard, Ohio. So
like once a month.
Once a month. So if you are a paintball player even, or just a fan of Airsoft, and you live in the Pittsburgh area, or even Ohio somewhere, and you know about that paintball field, check it out, because there are Airsoft matches there once a month now. And like I said, this past week was the Wasteland, and we want to do some more Wasteland events, so we're really looking forward to doing that. It was so much fun to do. I don't know. It was cold. It was cold.
No, I am so sick and tired of the rain, the cold.
Because it did rain out throughout the day a little bit.
I've been soaking wet and cold since Saturday night. This is something that I'm over.
It was a good time, man. It was a good time. I enjoyed myself, and
it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It just needed to be warmer and not raining.
Very true. Yeah, I just hope a lot of other people had fun with it too, because, like I said, I want to see us do that more often. I can't wait until like the springtime, when it's not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah, and not rainy.
To go out there and have a Wasteland event, and like maybe we'll actually start it the night before, like do a 2-day type of thing.
Yes.
That would be so badass.
Like take 2 days off of work.
I mean, I'll take 6 days off of work for that. It was fun.
Yeah, go out there for a week. Come back, have PTSD.
Don't. I have PTSD after that.
Yeah,
I can't even say it right.
Everybody's like, "Are you okay?" I walk by you. Fuck you, Bob.
Every single person after, because like, if you guys would have seen the way I fell,
Bob looked like he
I really got shot.
And then midair was like, no.
I hit
the
ground
like shit.
Well, my team was halfway down the field. They were down the trail. They were in a portion of the trail where the scavs couldn't shoot at them or see them. So they're like, "Oh shit, we got to go back for our," because I was our team's medic, and they're like, "We got to go back for our medic." And the one guy was trying to get back to me, and all I hear is my CO go, "No, leave him. We gotta go." So I'm just sitting there screaming, "Go make America great again!"
And then we proceeded to just keep firing.
Oh man, it was a good time. All right, so moving on from there.
Yeah, that's how our weekend's gone. How about your weekend? How's everybody else's weekend going?
Now, this episode we're going to be covering just a few things. Like I said a couple weeks ago, starting this episode leading up to the release of Justice League is going to be very DC heavy. I know Thor Ragnarok comes out in less than a week. We are going to go see that, but we've talked about that a lot. The Justice League and DC train is going full force. So we got a lot of DC news we're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk. What did you want to say?
We're not going to watch Wonder Woman and everything like you wanted to do?
I want to, and if we can get to doing that, we will. Just right now, I still have, and I'm sorry, all DC fans, I have yet to buy Wonder Woman. So
I told you it was $10 on Amazon Prime.
I know.
I bought it.
I'm sorry.
Do you have the other two?
I do. Yes.
Well, there we go. We can piece it together.
Yeah, we'll piece it together. We'll get it. We will have at least at the very least.
Actually, you know what? I have the other two. We can just use my Amazon account.
At the very least, we'll have Man of Steel and Batman v Superman watched. And commentary or something like that leading up.
Well, I think I have all three.
Okay.
I think.
Well, I have two of them.
Your mom.
The important ones are Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman because it's one trilogy. So
Gal Gadot is the most important.
She is important.
So Wonder Woman is the most important one.
Now we're also going to talk about Stranger Things season 2. Now I know Colton has yet to watch it.
Hey, I'm getting there though.
If you guys are fans of Stranger Things and you haven't binge watched the 9 episodes of season 2 yet, shame on you. After this podcast, go watch them.
Hey,
but
there's no shame on you. I haven't seen it.
I will spoil things here and there throughout for season 2. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to save that till the end. So
I mean, you can spoil it for me. I'm still going to watch it.
Let's see. There is a little bit of Star Wars news that came out actually today, so I'm going to touch on that. Besides that, this isn't a huge episode of anything. The last couple episodes were a little bit bigger. We had a lot like talking points about comic book fans and not just comic book fans, but pulp culture fans and stuff like that. If you haven't checked out those podcasts, they're really excellent.
Speaking of pulp culture, we're doing a Pop Funko figure giveaway.
Thank you. Good segue there. Now, what is it there?
It is the... Hold on, let me grab it over here. The Superman Justice League Funko Pop figure. Given away for the Justice League thing. All you have to do is subscribe and leave a review on iTunes.
Yeah, if you could do that, it's not hard.
Or join the group, Say, hey, I did this.
Yeah, join the group. Tell us you did it. I mean, we are looking at our reviews at all times, but it's simple. Just... You don't need to subscribe to iTunes, but that'd be great if you did. But at the very least, leave a review. 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. Let us know what you think. If you think
1738 star.
If you think our show is shit, let us know. If you think it's great, let us know. That's all we want. If you leave a review, and then on the November 12th, the week of the November 12th, which is going to be our November. What is it? I'm pulling up my thing here. So it'll be probably the podcast that releases on November 14th. We will be announcing who the winner of the pop figure is. If they're not local, if they're not nearby, we will ship it to you that week, and you will hopefully have it by the release of Justice League, and then you can be all excited about it.
So, how many reviews are we up to? Last time I saw we were at like 3 or 4.
I think we have 3 still. 3? Yeah.
Well, get the reviewing, people.
Yeah, let's get reviewing, people. I've been shamelessly telling people to review it, and some people are like, I don't know how to work iTunes. I'm like, you have an iPhone. How do you not know how to work iTunes?
I've been shamelessly like showing my penis to people.
Yeah,
I have it tattooed going down the side of it. I broke Bob already.
All right, so quick, just a little bit of a TV recap this week. The CW verse, obviously, we saw some things change with with Supergirl. I don't know what's going on with Colton.
Someone farted it. It fucking stinks so bad.
Must have been you, because it wasn't me.
I'm sorry.
Are you good now?
I don't know.
So Supergirl last week went to Mars with Martian Manhunter, which they then confronted Martian Manhunter's father there, which I thought was really cool. If a lot of people who watch the show don't realize, the man who played Martian Manhunter's father is actually the voice of Martian Manhunter on the Justice League cartoon from the early 2000s, which I thought was spectacular. I was watching the episode and I heard his voice. And I was like, oh man, what is that voice? That sounds so familiar. It wasn't until later I was on Twitter or Facebook or something that I saw that. And I was like, damn it, how did I miss that? But it was a really good episode. They did jump in, had some things going on with Supergirl's sister and her girlfriend Maggie, and about their relationship and getting married, and Maggie's father in a way how he doesn't approve of her being a lesbian.
So they're going to touch onto that.
I mean, they have been. Look, I understand shows and things like that are wanting to be more progressive nowadays. I get it. It doesn't bother me, but for some reason...
But here's how it bothers me.
But no, Supergirl, the past 2 episodes here, I feel have been really shoving this whole progressive lesbian nature into our faces, and it doesn't feel organic then. It doesn't it feels like pushing they're forcing it. They're doing it on purpose. If there's people out there who want this lifestyle of homosexuality to be accepted, you need to make it feel real in TV shows. And they're just not making it feel real. Again, my complaint isn't that they're having it. My complaint is that they're just shoving it in our faces, and I think they need to chill with that a little bit. But overall, this was a decent episode of Supergirl. I love the idea of going to Mars, and seeing Miss Martian and everything like that. I really, really like that aspect of the show, of the episode. The Flash, it was actually, while it was Villain of the Week, it was actually a really good episode, I felt. You kind of learn a little bit more of what the Thinker is planning, and not what he's planning, but what he's trying to do. He's trying to collect these 12 metahumans that Barry accidentally created whenever he came out of the Speed Force in episode 1 of this season. So that's very interesting in what he's going to try and accomplish and why the Thinker wants to grab these metahumans. Again, seeing Wally West like go off for no reason was a little annoying, I'm going to say, because I just feel that they don't know what they're doing with Wally. They just don't know how to write his character. And his girlfriend in this is Jesse Quick. If you don't know, Jesse Quick is a speedster of Earth 2. And she breaks up with him this episode. Now, again, she's from Earth 2. Now, while that all happens, all that Wally's going through all that shit, there's the whole villain and everything like that Flash is dealing with. And the whole time this is going on in the episode, I'm sitting there like, why don't they call Wally? Why don't they call Wally? Because he's a speedster too. He's Kid Flash. Call Wally. He can help. The whole time I'm thinking that. And then later on in the episode, he's sitting there and they're like, did any of you ever wonder where I was? And all of them were like, no. Like all the characters were like, no, we didn't wonder where you were. I was like, I'm sitting there screaming at my TV. I wanted to know where you were. I was wondering where you were.
That's like a giant fuck you.
But that's the thing. And he's like, see, nobody misses me here. Barry's better than he's ever been. And my girlfriend broke up with me, so I need to go be alone. So I'm going to go off to another city and just whine for a little bit. And it just pisses me off because Wally could be such an interesting character and fun character to use, especially having 2 speedsters on this show on a regular basis, and they just aren't doing it. And not only that, but dude, yeah, your girlfriend broke up with you, bro, but she's on a different Earth. I don't think you need to go to a different city to run away from it. Just go up into your room for a little while, a couple weeks, just chill in your room, cry about it. It sucks.
Buy a couple Playboys.
Exactly. Then you're over it.
Yeah.
I felt that it was very poor writing, and I'm disappointed with some of the things The Flash has been doing, especially from last year. It just seems like the writing's gotten pretty weak, and it's a little disappointing. That's all. But The Flash, overall, like I said, the show wasn't bad. I like the idea of this episode showing where the Thinker's going and stuff, so I like that. Legends was a decent episode. I didn't hate it. For me, it's just it seems like they're trying to add more people to the team organically, and I just don't think it's working very well in that regard, or at least in this instance here. I can't remember her name, but they had to rescue her from the big bad of the season, and it kind of felt forced to me. I will say that I do enjoy the little remark that Rory makes at one point whenever they go, oh, we got to go break this girl's brother out of prison, and he's like, a prison break? I dig it, or I'm in, something like that. And it's cool because 2 weeks ago we had Professor Stein make a remark about the Titanic, and whoever made it was a joke. And meanwhile, in the movie Titanic, the guy Victor Garber, who plays Stein in the Legends of Tomorrow, mm-hmm. in the movie Titanic, he was the one who built the Titanic or came up with the designs of Titanic. So he made a jab at himself. And then Rory, he played one of the titular characters in the show Prison Break, mm-hmm. and he just made a mention in this episode, Prison Break, I'm in, so it's kind of interesting how they're doing these callbacks for their other shows. I enjoy that. I think so far, and don't get me wrong, this season of Legends I think has been fantastic in its first 3 episodes. I just think this was the weaker of the first 3 for sure. But again, it's early in the season, so I'm not too like, I got to see more type of thing. And then finally in the Arrowverse, we have Arrow. And
no way.
Yeah.
Dude, you're fucking with me.
But this was the first episode since Oliver has turned the reins of Green Arrow over to Diggle. So Oliver...
That's such a funny name.
Oliver is no longer Green Arrow. He's spending more time with his son, which I think is a fantastic idea. Different aspect of the show and different way of showing Oliver as a father, which I really enjoy. And Diggle is struggling with being the Green Arrow.
Yeah, because his name.
His code name was the Spartan. So, do you want me to use that?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Actually, he prefers Master Chief, but Spartan will do.
So, you can also tell that Renee, he's upset about the whole idea of him being Green Arrow. He doesn't think that he's fit to be the Green Arrow and lead the team. So he goes and talks to Oliver about Oliver coming back, but Oliver's like, "Look, I trust Diggle with everything. He's been there from the beginning. He's like, I'm not." But then he does go talk, and he does talk to him to Dig, and he talks to him a bit about it. That's his nickname on the show, Golden. You need to watch these shows.
Hold on, let me pull time out of my ass here. Yep, nope, got no time up there. So
it's a lot of shit.
Yeah, up to my elbow.
So Oliver goes and talks to Dig about it, and Dig's like, I can't be you. I can't make the decisions that you make. And Oliver just reassures him, like, look, I've never ever felt like I was making the right decision. I just made a decision that I believed had to be made, and essentially that's what happens. And the rest of the episode is Dig coming to accept all this, and he's able to then be the Green Arrow. It was a good episode in that regard.
What if he becomes the Red Arrow?
We've already had a Red Arrow.
Purple Arrow.
We have not had a Purple Arrow.
Well, what if he becomes the Purple Arrow?
There's not a Purple Arrow.
Well,
Purple Arrow is Hawkeye from the Avengers. So
okay, yellow.
No. All right. So
don't worry, I'll be over here fucking.
Yeah, you can fuck yourself because you're just making dumb remarks right now. So.
Wow. Fucking wow. Nah, fuck it. I'll be over here fucking myself.
I mean, do you want me to call you out on your shit? I'll call you out on your shit. I don't care.
Sorry, I can't hear you over here dicking my ass. Can't hear you.
I don't know why dicking your ass you can't hear, but...
Because I'm over here fucking myself.
Still don't know how that doesn't let your ears work.
We want to get graphic with this, don't we? Do you want to go there?
So at the end of the episode, we see... Diggle, he goes and he buys some kind of drug that he injects in himself to steady his hand because he has some PTSD from what happened 5 months ago on Lian Yu. And it's interesting. We're going to see how that plays out, obviously, and what's going to happen when Oliver sees that, because that was the whole arc for the first few episodes, was Diggle just not being able to shoot his gun. He wasn't able to steady his aim and everything like that. And then we do see that he has steady aim and everything from this point on, but we now find out that it's because he has been taking this drug and
he's been taking methamphetamines.
Don't know what it is, but I guess we'll find out in the upcoming episodes.
So, do you think they're going to play it like a drug addiction type thing?
Probably, yeah.
Like it'll just spiral out of control, and then like Oliver becomes the Green Arrow again.
Well, I think he's going to be the Green Arrow again.
But like that's going to be his reason to become it again.
Yeah, I mean the whole reason why he passed the mantle over to Diggle is because the FBI is on to Oliver for being the Green Arrow. Mm-hmm. I mean he's a vigilante, and Oliver's also the mayor of the city.
Yes.
So it's like, is the mayor really a vigilante? That's not good. The FBI is looking into it because he's killed a whole bunch of people over his career of being the Green Arrow, so they're looking into it. And he's trying to prove to the FBI, like, look, I'm not the Green Arrow. You're coming after the wrong guy. Yeah. And that's why he passed the mantle on to his friend. So we'll see. I mean, I know he's going to become the Green Arrow again at some point because the Green Arrow is Oliver Queen. That's who it is, We'll see. I mean, I'm sure that's going to play a role in it, the drugs and everything like that, but we'll see what happens.
That's the message, kids.
Don't do drugs.
Don't inject marijuanas.
Don't inject the marijuanas.
Yes. ODing is a serious thing.
Yeah. Gotham was a decent episode this week. It was once again focusing on Solomon Grundy and the Riddler, and a lot of what the Falcone daughter, Sophia Falcone, there we go, is how she's making her play to get the Penguin to trust her. Mm-hmm. And again, this has just been an excellent season so far. The best season that we have had in Gotham so far, and it's only 3 or 4 episodes in. I'm absolutely loving it. Dr. Lee, we're seeing her again as she was prior to taking the Tate serum or whatever last season, which I thought was stupid and horrible, and I hated that. But now she's starting to get back to who she was a little bit before, which I enjoy to see. So it was a good episode, but this is kind of a segue. The reason why I talked about that is because Gotham has once again recast the actress who is going to be playing Poison Ivy in the show. Now, we had a young actress portray Poison Ivy in the first couple seasons. And then last season, they recast her as an older person because they made a storyline where she fell into some weird liquid and it aged her, to being
that's
like
how
a
it
young
works.
adult. Yeah, that's how it works. No, she was touched by somebody who ages you to kill you. Like they touch you and you like really age. And she was touched, but then fell into the liquid. So I don't understand how that all worked. Whatever.
It was age-defying serum.
Something.
And an speeder-upper thing.
Yeah.
So they canceled out and made her 25.
She was more like 21, 22, but she was damn hot, I will say that. But now they recast her as the beautiful young actress, not young really, but beautiful actress Peyton List. Now, there are two different Peyton Lists that people will know of. There's a Peyton List that's from the Disney Channel and stuff like that and done a bunch of stuff. It is not that one because she's only 19 and looks like a little kid. No, this is the one she played in Mad Men and was the main role in the show Frequency. Now,
you're a frequency.
This isn't her first stint in the DC universe. She also played Lucy Lane in Smallville for 2 episodes, and she also played in 3 episodes of The Flash Lisa Snart, the Gold Glider, which, if you remember, the Gold Glider was Snart's sister, or Captain Cold's sister, which Cisco kind of fell in love with her and stuff like that, but she was a bad guy or bad girl, that they didn't.
You just assumed her gender.
I did. That Cisco knew he couldn't, but there he kissed her and everything. But whatever. But that's who is playing this role of Poison Ivy, or Ivy Pepper, as she is known in the show. So
Ivy Pepper.
That's her name. Yeah.
That's a weird combination of words.
So we'll see how it plays out. Again, we may not see her until season 5, but I don't know why they would cast her now and not show up until season 5. Like, if
she
you're
might do a
casting
little
now,
cameo.
there might be a role or two. And they kind of left her in the dark a couple episodes ago, where she went into a potion shop of some sort, and she got this potion and like drank it. So that's, I think, how she's changing into Poison Ivy, and I think this is part of the change, which I'm okay with recasting if you want to make that change. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm happy that it's another hot chick. So yeah, I said it. I said it. But, that's all for TV I really have. There's a bunch of other TV that's been on. I've just been tired.
How about The Walking Dead?
Walking Dead. Okay, yeah, I watched Walking Dead this week. Look, Walking Dead to me has its moments, and this was not one of them this week. Literally, the whole episode, it pretty much starts off where a group of the good guys, will say, pull up to where some of Negan's crew is at and start opening fire at them. Now, I get that the idea was to not kill them all, but goddamn, are they bad shots. Like, they had Stormtrooper syndrome to the max. Like, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. It was fucking ridiculous. And then on the flip side, Negan's crew, same problem. They couldn't shoot anybody to save their lives. Like, and I made this complaint with the season opener. I get it's about being, suspenseful, but there's a moment where it just gets to
it's
be
like, come on now,
ridiculous.
We are not 2 years old firing a gun.
Exactly. Not that these are all trained people who have sat there in the military and been trained constantly for this stuff, but there comes a time.
A normal person can operate a gun.
If you shoot a gun 4 times, that 5th time, I'm not going to say you're a pro, but you're going to hit somebody eventually.
Yes. You're not just going to spray and make an outline of their body around them.
Exactly. You're going to know I'm not just going to shoot there when nobody's there and waste my ammo. And that's all they're doing. They're like shooting and hitting cars and tables and stuff, and they know that the person's not there. They're not going to pop out while you're shooting. It's just, when you get into a firefight with something, I'm not going to sit here and act like I've ever been in the military and have done this.
But airsoft.
But okay, yeah, we can use airsoft. I'm not going to sit there just because I know somebody's behind that corner. I'm not just going to keep on shooting and wasting my ammo shooting that corner. I'm going to stop and wait for him to poke his little fucking head out and then bop him right in the nose.
You're going to pew him
I'm going to pew him right in the head. That's what I'm going to do.
That sounded dirty.
It really does sound dirty. But no, it gets comical to a point, and I hope that they're listening, because the fans are freaking out about this. Twitter went crazy last night because of how ridiculous the gunfights were. I get that they're trying to up the ante with the action in this season, and I'm all for it, but at least do it right.
If they continue to shoot like that for this season, the next season they should have no ammo.
Yeah.
Like they've wasted all their ammo.
Exactly. No, I thought it was an interesting concept that, they killed a couple of them and they kept the gunfight going on for so long that the couple that they shot and killed started coming back to life as zombies and attacking their own people, which I thought was pretty badass because I didn't see that coming. And then when it happened, I was like, I see
That's
what they're
attention
doing.
to detail.
Yeah, and that was cool. I liked that. But then obviously there's a couple moments in the episode where it's like, oh man, Aaron's husband Eric gets shot in the stomach. Is he going to live? Is he going to die? Who knows? They don't, they kind of leave that up in the air at the end of the episode. Rick finds a random baby because they went into a building and they were trying to find these weapons that were in there. And he comes across a room where there's a guy. The guy's fighting him and he kills the guy. Well, Rick continues looking in this guy's apartment and finds a baby, which he's all upset about now, obviously, because he just killed the baby's father. So he's all upset about it.
It's a dog-eat-dog world.
Yeah, so what's he going to do with the baby? Who knows? We don't need another baby on the show.
Throw it to the zombies. Distraction grenade.
I'm just, like, the baby stuff is played out on the show. I know Maggie's pregnant and eventually going to have a baby, but that's at least 9 months down the road because she's not even showing one bit. So that's, I know that's coming.
Just throw it to the zombies.
Oh, why not?
Your getaway grenade. Think about it. if you really want to get morbid with it and show like the reality of a zombie apocalypse,
they're not going to get morbid with it. It's The Walking Dead, my man.
Yeah, they got morbid once and everybody uproared because their 5-year-old saw someone get their head caved in.
Exactly. One of the best moments in the show, period. And they're like, oh my god!
Like, you do realize it's an apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like...
Then Daryl comes across a room that reminds him of when he was captured by a Negan and was, tortured in a room with not just a dark room, cement walls, everything, and he starts to, I guess, have some PTSD or something because he's like all freaked out all of a sudden. I don't know. Daryl, the badass, all having PTSD. What the heck now? I don't know what it was.
I like how this keeps coming up in this episode. Can it be like the remote control, the PTSD episode?
No, I mean, PTSD isn't anything to be make fun of, and I get that, but yeah, I don't understand what they're doing with Daryl there. It was kind of weird because he sees it, and all of a sudden he's like laying on the floor twitching, screaming. He wasn't himself anymore. I guess, I mean, if they want to go that route, I'm fine with that. I just want them to kill Daryl, honestly, and that's really my complaint. Oh, and then Morgan the fucking badass, all of a sudden, for how long he was like, yeah, I don't want to kill anybody. Killing's bad. It's bad.
Killing's bad.
So, and then he's, in this group about to go do something, and some guys are like, aren't you worried? He's like, I don't die. And they're like, what? He's like, I don't die. Like, he just doesn't. Like, it's like a curse for him. Like, he just never dies. And he looks at it as a curse. Well, there's a moment where they're in the room or in the building, and they pop open a door, and there's like a room full of like 5 guys, and they open fire, and the other guys open fire, and boom, boom, the 2 guys that were with Morgan gets shot, and then boom, Morgan gets shot and hits the ground. Obviously, he's not going to be fucking dead because it's the show and it's predictable, but he wakes up and he sees the other 2 guys next to him, and it was like when he was telling them, like, I don't die, it was like a warning to them almost, like, stay away from me because if I don't die, somebody's going to die.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be you. So stay away from me was kind of a warning that you then find out. But then he just fucking goes mad. He fucking is John Wicking the shit out of everybody. Just walk around, poof, 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 just shooting.
Kingsman fight scene.
Motherfuckers, laying them out like crazy. It was pretty awesome. I did enjoy that. But again, I mean, the episode overall, while good,
bad.
That whole, because of just how comical the gunfight was between the 2 groups there. The story progression with Rick, I enjoyed that. Morgan, I thought was awesome. There was some stuff with Jesus and Tara that was going on, some conflict because Tara just wants to kill everybody, all of the saviors and people that are related to Negan. Jesus wants to not capture them, but take them hostage and if they surrender. There's a moment where a guy is surrendering. He's in a closet and he's kneeling with his arms up, and they open the door and they look, and he pissed himself, because he's so scared. And Tara's about to just shoot him, and Jesus is like, don't do it. And Tara's like, we can't trust him. We have to just kill. And Jesus is like, no, he's surrendering. We have to just let him go. Or not let him go, but we have to, honor that and take him. Well, the guy fucking flips and, captures and grabs Jesus and is about to kill Jesus, has a gun to Jesus' head. And Tara's like, well, see, I fucking told you, And he's like, you know how hard it is to piss yourself, It's funny. He's like, it's like your dick knows that you're wearing pants or something,
That would instantly diffuse the situation.
But
I would just start laughing, be like, man, come on, just put him down. Like, I'll let you go.
But they end up taking care of him, capturing him, and they capture.
Did they give him at least new pants?
No, he's walking around with piss-stained pants.
Wow, savage.
So, again, it was a decent episode. Just that gunfire, that firefight was just a bit annoying there for me. But that's all right. It happens, I guess. It does happen.
How many times are you going to let that be an excuse for this series?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm watching the show. It's not like I'm not going to watch a show. I'm watching the show. It gets annoying.
It's rough.
It gets rough sometimes. It really does. But that's all for TV I got. Before I move to all the film.
Wait, have you seen Rebels? Any Rebels season 4?
No, that's tonight. No, actually, it was already today. I haven't watched these episodes yet today. Last week's episodes I thought were really, really good.
I've heard
actually the first
been,
4
like,
episodes.
phenomenal.
The first 4 episodes came out. I think that they were all really good. It's just.
I heard season 4 is supposed to be like super good.
It's been good so far. They're leaving the filler out. And what I might do,
glad I reminded you.
Yeah, because I'm gonna watch them here in a little bit because the 2 episodes are out. This week's episodes are out, so I'm gonna watch them here shortly. Maybe on Star Wars Talk, maybe before we do that or something, we'll watch them real quick and talk about them. Because I don't really remember last week's. I remember liking them. I'm trying to sit here and think of what they were, and I just can't think.
I'm so far behind in Rebels.
I'm just so tired and all the stuff that happened this weekend. And
yeah, this week's episodes are going to be a little rough.
Yeah. Shit, man, what happened?
Was it?
Oh, I got it.
I got
it. Yeah, it's coming to me.
That's what she said.
Nope, it left me.
That's also what she said.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it maybe on this week's Star Wars Talk. I'll go back and refresh my memory of what they were.
AKA Wikipedia, that shit.
Yeah, because honestly, all I remember is them being on Yavin 4. They were there, and I don't remember what happened after that for some odd reason. It's really annoying me right now.
It's okay. We still hate you.
Oh, thanks. But sticking to Star Wars, there is some Star Wars stuff here. There's a possibility that Adam Driver hinted to who Rey may be in some sort of fashion or way.
Yeah, she's #1 Hollywood bae.
In an interview with GQ, he's talking about his story arc and his development and how he used the mask to hide who he was because he didn't know who he was. Not who he was. He was because he was ashamed that he came from Han and Leia. He came from this family, and now he's evil, and he didn't want to see himself. That's why he wore the mask. And in this coming episode, in episode 8, things changed a little bit, and that's why he's not wearing the mask anymore. We see him destroy the mask in the trailer. So he's talking about that, but then he gets on to talking about Rey a little bit, and this is the quote. He goes, "You have also the hidden identity of this princess who's hiding who she really is so she can survive, and Kylo Ren and her hiding behind these artifacts." That is the quote from Adam Driver. So people were now freaking out. He said princess. What does it all mean, Basil? So you're our Star Wars guy. What do you think that means? What do you think he means when he says princess? Is she a literal princess? Does she come from royalty? Or was he just simply saying princess because they're part of Disney and he says princess to a girl or something like that?
I hope it's the second one. She better not be Leia's daughter or anything like that.
Why would that make her Leia's daughter? Because, first off, Alderaan's gone. So she's
Doesn't
not
matter.
a princess of anything anymore.
Plus,
she's a general.
You still hold the royal name. Like, she would technically be queen, I guess, of a non-existent planet. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there, though.
And Han isn't royalty.
But he was married into, so technically he's a king.
See, I don't think they're going to go that route.
I hope they don't. I hope she's a Kenobi. I'm sticking with it.
I mean, so do I. Or
a Jinn. Let her be Qui-Gon's like distant relative.
I honestly don't know what to think with this because
I honestly think he's probably just doing it to fuck with people. Yeah, this isn't censored. To fuck with people. I don't think he's just...
Maybe. Or maybe it was just a little bit of a slip.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just saying, oh, she's a little princess. You know? Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe he's like secretly behind the scenes dating Daisy Ridley.
Maybe.
Slapping her the salami. Giving her the baloney pony.
Jesus Christ.
Who
knows?
Yeah, honestly, who knows? Yeah. I don't.
But let us know what you think about this because it is very interesting. So definitely tell us in the comments below or join our Facebook group. Let us know what you think.
Putting that on a shirt.
Because I think it's very interesting. What does Adam Driver mean by saying you have the hidden identity of this princess? And he's speaking about Rey. So does that mean she is from royalty, or does that just mean he's saying princess just to say princess because that's what he's doing there? Let us know what you think.
Can we get that on a shirt?
What?
Baloney pony.
Baloney pony.
Just wet bread. Oh.
So Colton has
Oh god, I keep thinking about it.
Colton has a problem with wet bread.
God, my eyes are watering.
So when we went to our airsoft thing this past week, I made a bunch of sandwiches and threw them in our cooler. You know, had ice in it and everything. Well, we didn't.
God, I'm gonna puke.
Didn't eat all the sandwiches. So today, as I was emptying our coolers out, there were some sandwiches still left in there. I was just gonna throw away. Well, one of them got water in it somehow.
Oh god!
And it was really just squishy and wet.
Fucking stop. Oh god!
I still have it in the trash. I should pull it out and just throw it at Colton's face.
You do it, you're gonna hear me puke live.
So,
oh god,
that's what that's all about.
Oh, my stomach.
But nice little segue into film here.
Wet bread.
Wet bread.
That's how we can describe an awful film. Just wet bread. This film was really wet bread.
So Marvel, in the Marvel universe here, because I do want to get some of this Marvel stuff out, which is pretty much just this and one other thing. Robert Downey Jr. shared a picture of himself on the set of Avengers 4, confirming yet again that he is in the film, because a lot of people are thinking that he's going to die in Avengers 3 and blah, 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 blah. We've already seen, this is the second time that we've seen a set photo with Tony there. The first one we saw him and Pepper Potts. This one is just him. Again, it is what it is. I mean, we know he's going to be in the film, which just leads me to speculate more that we have yet to see Captain America in any set photos. So possibly he dies in episode dead. In Avengers 3.
Yeah, he dies in episode
3.
He's the Anakin.
Tony's Obi-Wan. You were my brother, Steve. I loved you.
You turned her against me. And like you have like the Black Widow leg there.
Oh man, okay. So
you have done that yourself.
As I said, one other thing, we have Thor Ragnarok coming out this week, and right now it has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is certified fresh. We will be seeing it next Monday.
That's how I am.
We'll be seeing it next Monday.
I'm certified fresh.
Prior to recording our episode.
Ow! Oh god, I thought shit was falling. That scared the shit out of me.
Oh man.
I saw my mic move and I was like, whoa.
Just kicked the desk.
That scared the shit
we will be
out of me.
seeing Thor Ragnarok next week before recording. That way we can review it for everybody who hasn't seen it, but I'm sure everybody will see it this weekend.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's that. That's Marvel. Nothing really else going on in the Marvel world. A lot
Are
of
you
stuff
sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's really nothing.
Are you sure?
So, jumping to DC.
Okay.
Now, we have been wondering, a lot of people have been wondering, what would come of Joe Manganiello's... Manganiello?
Michelangelo. Michelangelo.
What would come of Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke now that they're rewriting the Batman movie? And this week, it seems like we have some confirmation, for the very least, that he's going to be getting his own solo Deathstroke film.
Nice.
I'm absolutely excited.
Now, will that be
this.
Canon to the DC universe?
It should be, yeah. I mean,
because isn't the Batman movie like not?
No,
canon?
It is. It is. Everything's being taken out of context because people are so used to the way Marvel's been doing things, and they're like, "Oh, everything's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe." The thing with the Marvel movies is, for the most part, every movie is connected to the last or the next, you know, in some form or fashion. what they're doing at DC is they're going to be making these standalone films. So you're going to have a standalone Batman film that takes place in the DC universe, but isn't going to necessarily connect to the events of Justice League or Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Just like Wonder Woman took place, and while granted, yes, we did see the picture that we saw in Batman vs Superman, it doesn't really connect to any of the other films.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, is it going to directly connect to the timeline that they're doing, or is it just going to be like a little side story?
I mean, as far as I know, it's going to be in the universe. You know, that's all we're pretty sure about at this point. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a little upset that they're just going to do a Deathstroke movie. I think it would have been badass to have Deathstroke as the villain in the upcoming Nightwing movie. It just makes sense. Deathstroke was a villain of the Teen Titans.
That's what I was thinking. Like, why don't they just do a Teen Titans and have him the main one?
It would be cool to do that, but I think it would have been awesome because Nightwing, and I've talked about this many times, if they do this movie right, could be fucking fantastic. You take the idea similar to that of Daredevil on Netflix, and you turn that into the Nightwing movie. You know, so yeah, he's not blind or anything. That's fine. Get rid of that. But
that makes him better.
Make that kind of fighting style, that kind of action for the Nightwing movie with Deathstroke as being the villain. Oh man, dude, that would be fucking awesome. Not saying that Nightwing is going to be good still, because they have talked about it being darker, grittier, like the Daredevil series. They have talked about that, which I'm happy about.
That's fine.
But, you know, obviously, as of right now, we don't know if Deathstroke's even going to fit in there. I'm hoping he does, but maybe not. But at the very least, we are going to get a Deathstroke movie, which I'm all for. Bring it to me. Give it all to me. I want as much DC stuff as I can possibly get on my face, neck, and chest. That's what I want.
Ooh, how about inside you?
No, not right now. We'll wait and see how Justice League goes.
What about Wonder Woman?
I'm going to let Justice League slide in there, and we'll see how it feels.
That's so hot. Are you going to put sandpaper on it?
No.
Oh, good. You don't want shaved. You're going to be putting more in there.
Shazam has been cast.
And his name is John Cena!
No, not John Cena. Thank God. Thank God.
Come on. Could you imagine,
Yes, we talked about this. You, me, and John talked about it. We're like,
Yes.
hey, this would be... How cool would it be if at one point we see Shazam and you just hear... Dun, 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 dun. All right, that'd be kind of funny to see.
Just give someone an AA.
It'd be funny to see.
Just over the shoulder. Boom.
But they finally cast him, and I will tell you this. I didn't see this one coming, but I completely am sold on it. I think it's a fantastic casting. I think it's, again, DC just showing and like, look, we know what we're doing.
Yes.
You know, and they casted Zachary Levi, who is completely beside himself, is what he said in his tweet about being cast as Captain Thunder or Shazam. So, look, Zachary Levi played in the show Chuck. He was the main character in the show Chuck. I actually got into Chuck last year, watched almost the entire series until Netflix threw it off of Netflix, which was upsetting to me, but the show kind of got old a little bit to me. But I liked his character a lot. Mm-hmm. He has that boyish charm that Shazam has. You got to remember, Shazam is a 12-year-old boy in a grown-up superhero body. You know, so he's not going to be as experienced as, say, Superman or Batman is. No, he's going to have that boyish, charm and innocence, exactly. And Zachary Levi can pull that off. He did it in Chuck, absolutely. Is Chuck a little skinny? Yeah. But he said in his remarks regarding after this was announced, I'm going to be in the gym for the next forever.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He doesn't need to be huge. But if he can bulk up a little bit, I mean, you take a look at all these superheroes. Henry Cavill did not look like Superman does now whenever he got cast. Yeah. He was a skinny motherfucker. Ben Affleck, he was overweight. You take a look at Gal Gadot. She was not, I mean, she's still not built, but she was just skin and bones. But, she put some muscle on, some muscle tone. These actors and these companies and these production companies know when they hire somebody, they know that they have to get them a trainer and get them fit for these roles. Shazam is supposed to go into production early 2018, March, April-ish. That gives them 1, 2, 3, 4,
like 7 months.
5 months. We'll say 5 months for him to get to where he needs to be. He can absolutely add about 50 pounds of muscle in about 5 months. It is. It's not hard
Regimen.
Thank you. Words.
The regime.
The regime. That's
They
what I almost
follow the
said.
regime.
You follow the regime. Look, words are not my friends.
Then
today.
only eat the regime.
I'm you now, right now.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't. So as long as he follows that and stays on track, he'll look perfectly fine. You know, I think it's perfect casting. I never would have thought that he would have been the one chosen for it, but it happened. It's excellent. I'm all for it. So I hope you guys are too. With that said, let us know in the comments and everything what you think. Now, today, some more reports came out that
like
WB...
today?
Yeah, today.
Like Monday.
Monday, yeah, the day of recording.
Okay.
Which is Monday. Reports are that WB Warner Brothers is waiting to see how well Justice League does before they officially greenlight the Flashpoint movie. So we know that Flashpoint is going to be a big spectacle. It's going to be just basically another Justice League because you're going to have all of the Justice League characters in it. I still think we're going to get a separate Flash film at some point. So I know a lot of people are like, why not just do Flash? I think we're going to get it. I think they didn't want to announce anything until they had a script. I think they already have a script for Flashpoint. That's why I think they announced it. So, however, Warner Brothers is waiting supposedly to greenlight it until they see how Justice League does. Makes sense. They want to see what Justice League does before they greenlight another huge budgeted film. You know, I get it. That's fine. It makes sense. We know that Justice League is going to make bank. I think they just want to see how much bank they make on it before they greenlight it. So I'm okay with that. This past weekend, we actually got, talking about Justice League, we got 2 tracks from the upcoming Justice League soundtrack.
Choo-choo.
Both of them composed by Danny Elfman. Now, I know you all realize and have understood that I have not been a big fan of the idea of Danny Elfman scoring this movie. This first track here is called Heroes Theme by Danny Elfman. Now, I enjoy it. I don't hate it. I don't think it's spectacular, but I dig it. You can definitely tell the Danny Elfman in it. It has a little bit of a feel of like the 1989's Batman. I feel a little bit of, or can sense a little bit of Spider-Man in it as well. But I dig it. It's not Hans Zimmer, it's not Junkie XL, but it's not terrible. And so I'm okay with it. I'll let you guys listen to it a little bit here. The track's about 4 minutes long. I do recommend that you all go to YouTube, check it out, because it is a good track. I really do enjoy it. Again, it's not spectacular. It's not Hans Zimmer. It doesn't have that same feel that we've gotten in Batman vs. Superman or Man of Steel, or even Wonder Woman, at that point. But it's good. We have yet to hear the actual Justice League theme, which is what I'm really waiting to hear. But this next one, this other track that was released is called Friends and Foes. And, well, I'm going to just play it and then you'll hear my thoughts on it. So, my feelings on this track.
Tell us how you really feel.
Look, this is what I was afraid of. About a month or so ago, we got word that we would be getting the classic Superman theme that John Williams created back in the 70s in this movie. Danny Elfman was all excited about doing that, and I just disagreed with the idea of even doing it because it's not. No, it should be done. Leave the past in the past. That's what I say. All right.
Yeah.
John Williams created a theme for Superman, and it was just
amazing.
Amazing. I mean, for the time, it was fantastic. It was amazing. It was strong. It was good. It brought hope. It made you believe a man could fly. That was the purpose of it back in the 70s. Bringing it now to this current iteration of Superman just does not work. It just doesn't. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. I know it doesn't sound exactly like it, and it may, when we see it on screen at the moment, it may work. Hearing it here, I don't like it. I do not like it. I'm sorry, I just don't, and it just makes me not happy. I think there's a moment, I want to say it's around the 2-minute mark, it comes again. So you hear it comes again. Now this track sounds more like Danny Elfman than the Heroes theme did. I don't like it. Look, I'm still worried about this movie because of the composer. I am. I don't want it to ruin the movie for me because I've been waiting for this movie for 20 years. This needs to be good.
Needs to be.
A soundtrack can make or break a movie for me. It can. So I'm very worried about it. I just hope to God that it's good. Like if the Justice League theme works and it's good, then I'll be okay. But
what
again,
if it isn't?
I don't know, man. I'm worried. Now we have a listing of all the tracks on the upcoming album, and I'm going to warn you now. There could be a potential spoiler in this track listing, so I'm going to go through them. It starts off with Everybody Knows. Then we get the Justice League theme. Then we get Heroes theme. We get Batman on the Roof. Enter Cyborg. Wonder Woman Rescue. Hippolyta's Arrow. The Story of Steppenwolf. The Amazon Mother Box. Cyborg meets Diana. Aquaman and Atlantis. Then There Were Three. The Tunnel Fight. The World Needs Superman. Spark of the Flash. Friends and Foes. Justice League United, Home, Bruce and Diana, The Final Battle, A New Hope, Anti-Heroes theme, and then we have Come Together by Gary Clark, Icky Thump by the White Stripes, and then we get some additional full-length bonus tracks for a couple other things on there. So the moment where I said there could be a spoiler, because a lot of this kind of seems like if you sit there and think of a movie, it seems like it goes in order. You know, you have the Heroes theme, Batman on the Roof, probably talking to Commissioner Gordon. You know, enter Cyborg, we get introduced to Cyborg. We see Wonder Woman make the rescue, probably from the previews that we saw in that bank heist. Then, you know, we get the Story of Steppenwolf, where Wonder Woman's mother probably explains to Diana and maybe even Bruce Wayne who Steppenwolf is. Then Diana, we've always known that Diana is the one who goes and recruits Cyborg. We get that. Then we see Aquaman. Then There Were Three, which is probably, you know, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Bruce Wayne, probably, because I think Cyborg's going to be a little reluctant at first. Then there's a fight in the tunnel. So, you know, The World Needs Superman, probably a big moment where they're like, oh crap, we need Superman. Then the Flash enters, Friends and Foes, which is, I'm guessing, the moment where Superman comes back in a way. Then Home, Bruce and Diana, The Final Battle, A New Hope, Anti-Heroes theme. That is the one that I think is going to be the biggest spoiler, because anti-hero, and it's not heroes like multiple heroes, it's heroes. Like hero, like a singular heroes theme. Anti-heroes theme.
You totally confused the shit out of everybody.
I possibly could. Yes.
You confused me there for a second.
It's an anti-heroes theme. So
And then you went like, yeah, the hero.
yeah.
Then you went anti-heroes.
But it's called anti-heroes.
Yeah, but it's
theme.
apostrophe S at the end.
Yes, not ES.
Yes.
Apostrophe S.
No, we're clearing that up now.
Thank you. I think that's the big spoiler there, because I truly believe that Superman's going to come back and be an anti-hero. I don't think he's going to be the Superman that we all think right away. Again, this is the very last track of the soundtrack. So maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just Batman being the anti-hero or something. Maybe Deathstroke shows up and he's an anti-hero. Who knows at this point?
Part 1 of 2.
But it's interesting to see that and hear and see the track listing. Yeah, I'm worried about it.
Part 1 of 2.
So we'll see what happens with this movie. Soundtrack, at least, because I'm excited about the movie more than probably most people. All right. So getting to the big moment of this episode, I am going to talk Stranger Things Season 2 here. So if you haven't yet watched Stranger Things Season 2, I'm giving you the okay to turn our podcast off now if you do not want spoilers. I apologize. Actually, you know what? I don't apologize. If you continue listening to this right now after this point and you hear spoilers, it's your own fucking fault.
Please comment so we can call you a dumbass.
Yeah, exactly. My brother yesterday, or this morning, posted on Facebook, I think it was this morning, and he goes, R.I.P. Dart. And now the reason why it's funny is because in the show, the one character, he gets a pet Demogorgon dog, all right? And it's really small first, it's like a little slug, and he keeps it as a pet, and it grows, and when it grows, it becomes like dog-sized, but eventually it turns on them. Mm-hmm. Well, at the end of the season, he actually comes to them, like he's gonna like attack them, but they're able to get by. They get by and everything like that. Well, eventually, all of the Demogorgon dogs die, and Dart died. So my brother goes, R.I.P. Dart. People freak the fuck out on Facebook at him, like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? So it was a little ridiculous, if you ask me. But getting into the show, okay. So essentially, we start off, with the kids. They're back to being normal kids. You have.
I'm going to comment below this because I haven't seen Stranger Things season 2 yet.
You have Dustin, Mike, Lucas, and Will. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, all 4 of them are living the life of being kids again, which is fantastic. After the events of Stranger Things and what happened there, it's nice to see them back on track being kids. However, you can tell Will is still not
disturbed.
Quite there yet. He's still okay, shit happened to him and he's not right in the head in some form or fashion.
He's disturbed.
So
this is the
sound of there's a moment where they go to the arcade, and Dustin, the curly haired kid with the messed up mouth, teeth. Well, he's got teeth now, and he always
nice.
he keeps making funny. He's like, yeah, girls are gonna love my pearly whites, and he shows his teeth and does that. It's a little comedic, but it's fun. It's good times.
It's good, tasteful.
They're at the arcade, and they go over to this arcade and Dig Dug. They go to Dig Dug, and he's like,
this is really dating itself.
Dustin's like, I'm still number 1 on Dig Dug, and they go over there, and he's not number 1. And Mad Max, a person by the name of Mad Max, is number 1 on Dig Dug, and he's like, who's Mad Max? Who's Mad Max? They can't figure it out, so he's all upset about that. While he's sitting there doing that, Will hears something, and all of a sudden, everything around him turns to the upside down. Mm-hmm. And then he starts to hear something outside. He walks outside, and he sees this big smoke monster in the distance. And Mike comes over and wakes him up from whatever he was doing. He comes out of it, and he's back in the real world. And he's like, "You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm okay. Whatever."
Yeah, we'll ignore the PTSD.
Yeah,
coming back at it again.
Yeah, so they kind of go on from there. Now, Will has actually been seeing a doctor in the building where everything took place in season 1, where all the scientists were. Well, he's been going and seeing a doctor there because they're trying to figure out, why isn't, because he is having some issues and stuff like that. So, he's talking to a doctor played by Paul Reiser, which, excuse me, I tell you what was a bit weird seeing Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser.
Because he
What was he in?
He's put on some weight. Definitely put on some weight. He was on a show called Mad About You about 25 years ago, buddy.
Paul Reiser.
But he plays Dr. Owens in this. So you kind of see the Dr. Owens. He's kind of he's not as bad as Dr. Martin was from season 1. He's not like all about finding things out about the Upside Down, but he does actually care about Will and the well-being of Will, but he does have his own motives as well.
Yes.
So we see that going on there, and you see Joyce, Will's mother, as well as Chief Hopper. They're kind of like, they have like a friendship there. You don't really know what's going on between the two of them right now, because I felt like at the end of season 1, like those two were going to get back together, because you find out that they were together years ago, like when they were kids, or when they were kids in high school and stuff. But I kind of thought that was going to be the case. Well, you come to find out that Joyce is actually seeing a guy named Bobby, and he's played by Sean Astin. And it was just, Bobby's just one of those characters. He works at Radio Shack. He reminds me of me a little bit, just a big nerd.
Ironically, you guys have the same
name, ironically, but he's just a big nerd, good, meaningful guy. He wants Joyce's kids to like him. So
does he buy them things?
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. He does stuff like that.
You gotta buy the love.
Trying to in a way, but he's trying to get them to like him.
Yeah.
So you have that storyline going on. Then you have the storyline of Nancy, who is Mike's sister, who is played by Natalie Dyer, who is so adorably cute. She's amazing actress too. But you have her storyline, which she's going out with the popular kid Steve Harrington, who's played by Joe Keery. He's they started going out last season. Well, now their relationship is a little bit on edge now, because
it's on the rocks.
It's a little bit on the rocks because Nancy is still worried about Barb. Like, they're holding this secret in. Like, Barb's parents don't know what happened to her, and Nancy does, and so does Steve, and so do all these people. But they have to keep it covered because for fear of being killed or imprisoned for saying what happened. The government's trying to cover this up, and she can't take it. So her relationship with Steve is a little on edge because of that. Then you have
does he want to know and she can't tell him, or?
Well, no, he knows. He knows what happened. She wants to tell Barb's parents,
but
he's like, you can't. You can't do that. And
I thought it was like, I have something to tell you, but I can't.
No, because he knows everything that happened. Then you have Jonathan, who's Will's older brother, and obviously he's still really into Nancy. They've been friends and everything, but he's in love with Nancy.
Yeah, he was loving her from a distance.
Yeah, and she just doesn't pick up on that, or doesn't realize
relatable.
that. Yeah, tell me about it. And
boy, talking about Stranger Things, and we're over here venting our problems.
So you have that storyline where he's like still into her, and they're still friends, and they can kind of come together because of they experience some of the same type of stuff together.
Yeah.
So they're you see them getting closer. Well, then we see 2 new characters added to the show as new kids at the school, in Billy and Max. Now,
they sound like super generic names.
Max is played by a young actress named Sadie Sink. She is I thought she did a really strong job in this show as Max. Billy is played by Dacre Montgomery. Now, you may know him from the most recent Power Rangers movie. He played Jason, the Red Ranger. Completely caught me off guard whenever I saw him there, because he has like his full-on mullet, like totally 80s mullet.
The essence of
built,
sex.
He's got these tight, whitewash jeans on. Like, he is hardcore metal head.
Like leather jacket.
No, jean jacket.
Oh, man, don't fuck with him.
So I see him on the show, and I'm like, man, he looks familiar. And I couldn't put my finger on it until I Wikipedia'd it. I was like, holy shit, that's Jason from Power Rangers. But yeah, you got these 2 characters added in there, and there's some weird turmoil between the 2 of them, and you've come to find out that they're both stepbrother and sister, and he kind of takes care of her because the parents they go out of town or something like that, and she's afraid of him. Like, he's a complete dick to her. He's the biggest asshole on the planet. He treats her like shit, and that's kind of upsetting. Now they had to move to Hawkins because her father was like abusing her mother, so they moved there, and she eventually married Billy's dad and stuff like that. Now he's kind of mentally abused by his father as well. He's a big dick to him, as also freaks out at him, yells at him, and tries one of those kind of dads. And you can kind of see where he gets it, stuff like that. So it's interesting. Now Max does, because of the whole thing with the Dig Dug and how Dustin's all upset about his score being beat. He's trying to figure out who Max is. Well, he finds out that she's Max, and he's like, holy crap, we got to find out who she is and learn more about her and stuff like that. So he and Lucas, who is the black kid in the show, and I'm just going to say it like that, he's the black kid. He is. But it gets funnier in a moment whenever I get to something here, because I thought it was a funny moment. But they start stalking Max, from a distance, because they want to find out who she is and go introduce themselves, but they're afraid to do it. Now, eventually they do introduce themselves, and she kind of gets a little closer to Lucas than she does to Dustin, and Dustin is upset with that because Dustin, is starting to admire her and like her and stuff like that. But because she starts falling for Lucas and he sees that, he then tries to push her out of the group, like, you can't be in the group now, So there's a little turmoil there. Now, that whole storyline goes on. Eventually, at the very end, Lucas and Max get together in a way. They kiss at a dance and stuff like that.
Aww.
Ooh, ah. Now, the reason why I said he's the black kid, and there's a moment in the episode, because this all takes place right around Halloween. So they all show up to school dressed up as Ghostbusters, and you have one of them dressed up as Stantz, you have one dressed up as Egon, you have then two of them dressed up as Venkman, and the two that are dressed up as Venkman are Mike and Lucas. And Mike is like, yeah, we got Stantz, we got Egon, and wait, why are you dressed up as Venkman, Lucas? And Lucas is like, because Venkman's the cool one, and I'm the cool one, so I should be Venkman. And Mike's like, no, we all agreed that I would be Venkman. And he's like, what do you think? Who do you think I should dress up as? And they're like, you think I should have been the only black Ghostbuster because I'm black? Like, they basically say that without saying it, but it's freaking hilarious because, it's true. He's like, nobody wants to be that Ghostbuster because he comes in near the end of the film, doesn't really do anything. He's not the cool one. Nobody wants to be him. So I kind of thought that was funny and laughed heartily at that.
Oh, it's nice. Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go. You dropped your reference tool.
My reference tool, because there's so many names. I have their names pulled up on here, so I can't remember.
I saw that. I was like, Jesus. Someone came prepared.
Now, the one person that I haven't talked about is the big character, 11. Where has 11 been? Well, we find out that after the events of Season 1, whenever she defeats the Demogorgon, she ends up in the Upside Down again. However, she finds her way out. She gets out of the Upside Down and makes her way to the woods, into the forest, and she's living there what appears to be a few months. Like, she's in the woods scavenging, killing hunters and shit like that, like just surviving. Well, Hopper finds her out there, and he takes her and he puts her in his old cabin, his father's or his family's cabin, and he's kind of hiding her out there, that way nobody finds her, nobody questions anything, which I thought it added a real interesting aspect to the two of those characters, like a father-daughter type of aspect, and I really liked that. However, she wants to get out. She's been there for so long, eating Eggos and just sitting there. She wants out. She wants to...
But waffles are so good.
She wants to go find Mike. Like, she has this connection with Mike, and she hasn't been able to see him. Now, what she does is she does this thing where she turns the TV on to snow, or static, yeah. And she puts a blindfold on, and she uses her power, and she actually can go and see Mike, but Mike can't see her, but he goes and sees him like that, and
so she catches him like beating his meat in his room, and then that's what happens. No. That's how I'd like to picture like an outtake goes, but whatever.
No. Okay, so that kind of happens. Like, she wants to go see Mike and everything. Well, things start to happen with Will. Will starts getting even crazier. He starts seeing the Upside Down some more. There's a moment where they're in school. This is after Dustin finds this little Demogorgon slug from the Upside Down. And we don't know it's a Demogorgon yet because it just looks like a little slug. And he wants to keep it as a pet. And it's actually funny because he puts it in, in Ghostbusters, the little ghost capture thingy from Ghostbusters. He puts it in there, which is kind of cool. And he's carrying it around all the time. But, he actually starts feeding it Three Musketeers. So he's feeding it nougat, because it's got Three Musketeers nougat in it. So that's kind of a running gag in the show also this season. Again, it's adorable how Dustin treats. They name it Dart. It's adorable how he treats Dart. So the kids are all like, "You got to get rid of that thing." And he's like, "No, this is a new species. I'm going to go down in history as discovering a new species," and stuff like that. Dustin's all excited, but all the other kids are like, "Dude, this isn't cool. Like,
yeah, like please stop.
That's bad. Remember what happened last year? This shit sucked. So get rid of it." Well, it runs away, and it goes, and
does its thing.
Well, they're running. It's running, and it runs away in the school. Well, as the kids are going to find it, Will gets and has his vision of the Upside Down again. And he walks outside into the football field, and like it's the Upside Down. He sees the big shadow monster, and it actually enters his body, and it enters him, and he starts freaking the F out. He's like, making weird noises and shit like that. His mom shows up, gets him. Now, his mom, Joyce, has been like very protective of him since the events have happened the year prior because of what happened. So like he's not allowed to ride his bike alone. Somebody has to be with him at all times. She drives him to and picks him up from school, all that. So she gets to school and finds him, and what's going on? So takes him home, and he's freaking out. He's like really, really hot. He's like, I'm really cold. He's like, I'm really cold. I need the heat, or no, what is it again?
You said heat or real.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what it was again. Man, he's really hot and he needs to be cold. So, they open the window and stuff like that, make him as cold as possible because that's what he wants. And it's, end of October, so it is colder outside.
Yeah, you can open a window and get snow.
Not basically. Now, yes. But, like, they're giving into what he wants because they're trying to make him comfortable, trying to figure out what the hell's going on with him. Well, during the whole time, the other kids, Dustin, Mike, and Lucas, they're all off doing their thing, and Dustin is hiding the Dart from everybody. So he found Dart in the school, is hiding him from everyone, Max and all that. Takes it home and puts it in his little aquarium. A couple, I guess a day or two goes by. He keeps feeding it nougat. Well, one day, he comes home from school. He's like, I'm going to go find it. And his mom's like, hey, have you seen the cat anywhere? Have you seen the cat anywhere? He kind of goes into his room, and he's like, he lifts the sheet off of the aquarium, and there's the glass is broken out, and Dart's not anywhere to be found. But then he hears something in the corner, goes over and seeing that Dart has grown exponentially and is eating the cat. And he's like, oh, shit.
He's like, should have gotten rid of this.
Yeah, so he gets his mom to like somehow go and like get away from the house, and he then baits Dart to go into the storm cellar outside, and he like puts bologna down or something like that so it'll eat and go inside.
Wet bread.
So he does that, gets him in there, and you're starting to see that this is a Demogorgon now. Like, like it's to the size. It's like it's about the size of a cat at this point, or a small dog, and it opens up its mouth like the Demogorgons do. So you're like, oh shit, this isn't a good thing. This is bad. This needs to die. But he's befriended this thing, so Dustin doesn't want to kill it. So he just kind of gets rid of it, and he's fighting with he finally comes to the conclusion, all right, I need help to get rid of this thing. So he goes to find his friends, Mike and Lucas and Max and all that, but they're all off doing their own thing right now. They're all off. Mike is with Will because Will's having all these moments, and he's freaking out. So they're at the doctor's, they're trying to figure out what's going on there. And Lucas is with Max. So it's like, Dustin's like, who do I get? So he comes across Nancy's boyfriend, and what's his name again? Steve. He comes across Steve. And now at this point, Steve and Nancy have kind of split up because of their indifferences. Because there was a party that Nancy was at, and she gets really fucking drunk and goes, everything is bullshit. You're bullshit. This is bullshit. We love each other is bullshit. I love you is bullshit, that kind of thing. And he's like all upset, like, you said this is bullshit. So they essentially split up.
And so he was like, I'll go fuck myself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he wants to go and make things up to her, so he goes to Mike's house to get Nancy, and he's bringing her flowers, but Dustin was already there. He runs into him. He's like, hey, do you still have that baseball bat that you had last year with the nails in it? And he's like, yeah, why? Get in the car. Come with me. I got to show you something. He's like, why? Just get in the damn car. Let's go. So they go to his house to find the Demogorgon, and they open up the storm cellar, and they go down, and what you see it sheds skin, kind of like a snake does, whenever, but it's like all goopy and disgusting.
Like wet bread.
Like wet bread.
God.
And then we see in the corner of the storm cellar that Dart dug a hole and is gone. Like, he dug a hole and just went.
He's like, fuck this shit,
exactly.
I'm out.
So he's out. So now he's out and about. So now Steve and Dustin are like, okay, we got to catch this. We got to catch Dart and get rid of him before he starts wreaking havoc on Hawkins, you know? Meanwhile, you have everything going on with
everybody else.
But you have Will dealing with all the shit that's going on with, you know, basically being possessed by this shadow monster, all right?
Yes.
And in that building, I can't remember what the building's called, but in that building, they have a portal way to the Upside Down there. And they keep investigating it and stuff like that, going in and out of it to investigate the Upside Down. So you have that kind of shit going on. And then you have Hopper, who is trying to figure out some shit because there's crops in these farmers' fields, like pumpkins and stuff, that are just like dying like overnight. Like they're just rotting overnight. So Hopper decides, and he's investigating, and he digs a big hole into one of the fields, and you go in, and boom, you get dropped into like this tunnel system that is all being possessed by the Upside Down. So it's like all like, you know, with the shit flying in the air, white shit flying, like it's just creepy and crazy. I forgot one thing. After they brought Will home from the
doctor hospital,
before they went to the doctor and hospital, they took him home after the events at the high school, and he drew the tunnel system on pieces of paper, and they like laid it out across the entire house so you can see the tunnel system. And you'd come to learn that the tunnel system is it's a tunnel system underneath Hawkins, and Bobby is the one who actually discovers that. He's like, oh look, that's where that is, and he has no idea what all this shit is about because he came into the picture afterward. Nobody's told him that, hey, you know, this happened last year, you know,
like shit hit the fan 365 days ago.
So no, it was only 350 days. 11 says how many days it's been.
Whatever.
But
same thing, same shit.
Whatever. A year ago, roughly. So all this shit's going on, and you know he starts going even crazy. So they Will discovers that Hopper's in trouble because he falls down and gets, you know, captured by the Upside Down, and Will discovers that. So they decide to go and find him. So they go and find him. When they get there, a group of scientists are there with people, and they start burning underneath the tunnel, and Will freaks out. He starts, it burns, he's hitting the ground and he's shaking everywhere. So they rescue Hopper, take everybody to the scientist lab, the building. That's where we're at there. So while they're there, they're trying to fix, you know, Will up and everything like that. Mike's there, Hopper's there, Joyce is there, Bobby's there. They're all there. Meanwhile, this thing is going on with Dustin and Steve trying to find the Demigorgon. And then you have Lucas trying to talk to Max about, like, hey, this is what happened last year. This is why Dustin doesn't want you in the group. But I'm going to tell you why, and you're never going to believe me. So he does that. And then you have Nancy and Jonathan who go off, and they're trying to... They decide the only way to reveal to the country and to the world what happened to Barb, because nobody's going to believe if they come and say, hey, there's this Upside Down, there was Demigorgons and shit like this. Yeah. They're not going to believe that, so they decide to record some shit from the scientists, and then they're going to blackmail them, essentially. And they go to a private eye, which Barb's parents have hired to help find out what happened to Barb. They go to the private eye with this recording that they got and try to, like, hey, what can you tell us and what can we do with this? So that's going on. So that's kind of where everybody's at. Sorry if this is a fucking mess, but try and follow along.
Yeah, shit's happening. People are blackmailing. We're hitting a teddy bar up here soon.
Yeah, no.
Fucking A.
So, as I'm going to go back to Dustin and Steve, as they're going through trying to find the Demigorgon, they decide to go buy big buckets of, you know, beef, which who the hell has enough money to 2 kids? How do they have money to buy that much beef? Again, it is in the 80s. I get it. But they were walking down train tracks, dropping the, you know,
they're dropping the beat.
And if you remember in season
beef.
1, where that junkyard was with the school bus and everything, they dropped meat leading all the way to there. They then put a whole big pile of meat there, and they put some gasoline. Meanwhile, you see Lucas and Max finally show up and meet up with them, you know, and like, hey, where have you been? And he's like, I told her about everything. And Dustin's like, how could you tell her about it? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, whatever. So that whole thing goes on.
They're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just shut up, dude. It is what it is. So they're all waiting in the bus for the Demigorgon to come, and, you know, they're sitting there. It gets dark, and there's like fog, and it looks all cool and creepy, you know. And
they harness that effect.
And Dart starts to come towards, and you see eating as he gets closer, and then he stops. And he doesn't go close enough so they can light the fire to burn him. And they're like, shit, something's wrong. So Steve is like, give me my bat. He takes his bat and he goes out there and he's just going to go one-on-one against him, which,
it's a slug.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a slug at this point. It's like a full-size dog now.
But it's still a slug.
No, it's a slug. It's got 4 legs and...
It's still a slug.
Whatever. So he goes out there, and you see it, then all of a sudden, another one shows up. And then another one shows up. And another one shows up. And about 5 of them show up, and you're like, holy fuck, where did these all come from? Because we knew of 1. Mm-hmm. Now there's all of a sudden 5. So they're like, shit, Steve, get back here, So he comes running back, and, basically he runs back and gets into the bus before they can attack him. And then all of a sudden they're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they're like attacking the bus, trying to get in the bus. And then all of a sudden you hear one of them like do a loud scream, and then they run away. Jumping back to Will, Hopper, Bobby, Joyce, and Mike at the doctor's, they're trying to figure out what's wrong with Will. And they kind of come to the conclusion that he is possessed by this, the entity. The entity. And for some reason I don't remember how, but they determined that he's a spy for the beings of the Upside Down. And the Demogorgon dogs come to there and come up from the tunnel system, and they find their way there, and they start coming up and they start to attack there. Like they're attacking in there. Oh, that's because they start burning. They're trying to close the portal or something like that. So they come and attack there, and it's just a fucking bloodbath, man. And it gets to the point where they're like, all right, we need to. Well, Will's a fucking. He's a spy. We need to shut him up. So they put him to sleep. They shoot him with something, and he goes to sleep, so he can't be a spy. Well, now all the power's out. They need to find their way out. But when the power goes out, the doors, just go in automatic lockdown. So like, how the hell do we get out of here? So they have to find their way out. Well, Bobby is like, look, we can reset the lights, but to unlock the doors, you have to know, certain coding for computers to do that. Does anybody know that? And everyone's like, no.
This is the 70s.
And it's like Bob's like, well, I'm the only geek here. I know what I'm doing. Obviously, the one geek knows how to do coding on computers.
It'd still be you in real life.
Yeah, it'd still be me in real life. So,
like, I kind of know what I'm doing. Cracks fingers. Here we go. Poop. Enter. Everything unlocks. Fucking A.
So, Hopper, kind of gives Bobby a gun, and like, all right, this is where you got to go. You turn that switch on, and then you can unlock the doors, and we can get out of here. So Bobby goes and does that. He gets the lights back on. He unlocks the doors. Like, all right, good to go. Good to go.
Excuse me.
But the problem is there's still Demogorgon dogs everywhere. They're all fucking walking around this looking for people to eat, and they're stuck in this one, and they're stuck in the security room. So
the security room, the safest place.
The doctor's there also, and he's like, all right, look, I'll guide you guys from here. I'll make sure that you're clear. Take a radio, go. So they're going, and he's staying in there. And then you have Bobby, who is, he's trying to walk Bobby through getting back safely. And you think he finally does. He makes it to the exit, and he sees, Joyce and everybody. All of a sudden, the Demogorgon goes, "Quar!" and just bites his face. Completely predictable. I saw it coming from 10 miles away, but it was still cool to see Bobby die.
Why do you want to see yourself die, man?
Because I know if that ever happened, I would be one of the first to die. So,
yeah, a virgin always dies first.
I'm not a virgin. I have 3 kids.
So? Jesus didn't have a dad.
So eventually, while all this is going on, so we're left there, 11 escapes from the cabin, and she goes on a little trip to find her mother. Well, she finds her mother and discovers that she has a sister. Now, in the very first scene of the season, we see something take place in 1984 in Pittsburgh, where a group of kids robs or kills somebody.
Pittsburgh.
And they get away from the police and everything like that. And you see another woman with powers, with special powers similar to 11's. And you see that on her wrist she has 008, whereas 11 has 11 on her wrist. So 11 is, her mother basically explains to her that she has a sister to go find. So she goes, I believe, to Chicago, finds this person, and 11 all of a sudden becomes real like 80s, like she slicks her hair back wearing leather and shit like that, and black.
teases her hair so it's like 4 times the size it normally should be.
Yeah. Well, she determines that she wants to go back and not stay with them, so she leaves them and goes back and starts to head back to Hawkins. So that's all going on with 11. And then you have, Nancy and Nancy and Jonathan, who they have sex and
nice.
They get it on, and the Private Eyes help them not only help them in the way of blackmailing the scientists and just about Barb, but also the PI's like, dude, there's like tension between you two. Either just have sex or don't. Just do one of the two,
Throws a rubber at him, fucking go at it.
He basically does that.
Like, he just go the fuck at it.
So, they then come together. Well, they head back, and when they head back, they start to notice, like, okay, something's wrong. What is going on? And they make their way to the scientist building. Luckily, they get there right when everybody else is pretty much running out. But they also meet up with Steve, Lucas, Max, and Dustin, who were trying to follow where the Demigorgons were going to defeat them. So they all kind of meet up at the one place. Then they're like, okay, we need to make sure Will doesn't know where we're at because he's a spy, but we need to get information out of him to figure out how to defeat this, So they go back to Will's house, and they're like, well, how are we gonna make it so he doesn't know where we're at? So they go into that back shed, they clear it out, put shit up on the walls, put bright lights where he's gonna be sitting, and wake him up so he has no idea where he's at. And they start talking to him and like, come on, Will, you have to tell us something. But he's not giving them any information. But then you see him tapping Morse code, and it's like, oh shit, Will is there. He's tapping Morse code of what to do, but as he's talking, he's not talking as Will. So they're like, oh shit, okay, it's giving us something. All of a sudden, their telephone rings in the house, and Will's like, huh? And now he knows where they're at. And then the Demigorgon dog shows up there, and they're like, oh shit, we're gonna die. Like, they're all in the house, they have guns drawn, like, shit, what's gonna happen? And then all you hear fighting outside, and the dog then goes, or the Demigorgon dog comes through the window and hits the ground. You're like, what the fuck was that? And then the door opens, and 11's standing there. So finally, the reunion of 11 and everybody, it's like, oh my god, 11's here, yay! So then they're like, okay, now what are we gonna do? Like, we need to figure something out how to do. He did give them an idea of how to defeat them, but how can you defeat the thing? And he gives them a location of where to kill, like what you need to do to kill him. So the problem is, they discover if they kill this entity that is underground and close off the portal, not only will you kill all the Demigorgon dogs, but you also kill Will, because he's a vessel. He's the beings inside of him. So they need to find a way to get that out of him. So they determine, okay,
Taco Bell.
Yeah. Because he's wanted to be cold so long, obviously whatever's inside of him hates warmth. So what they do again is they blindfold him and they take him somewhere where he won't know where he's at, and it's to the cabin where 11 was. And they get a whole bunch of heaters and shit like that and put it on him, and he's like, they're getting him real hot and everything like that, and he's freaking out like, it's hot. Now Jonathan, his brother, is like, oh my god, like, Mom, we have to stop. And his mom at this point is pissed off because the love of her, well, not the love of her life, but Bobby, the guy that she was seeing and was in love with, was killed because of this, and her son's being, possessed by it. So she's like, let it go, Jonathan, let it, like, she's like, Jonathan wants it to stop, and the mother's like, no, fuck you, let this keep going, So she's trying to, she's making sure it happens, and, turns the heat up on these things, and 11 and Hopper go back to the building, and they find the doctor there. He tried to escape. It looks like he got bit in the leg, but he wasn't dead. He's kind of laying there in a stairwell, and he's like, Hopper's like, I'll be back for you. We're going to do something. By the way, hey, this is 11. And he's like, I've been meaning to introduce you to her type of thing. Well, anyways, they go to the portal, and 11 is standing there, and they're on this, like, elevator. And she's like, all right. He's like, do what you got to do. And she puts her hand up, and she starts, like, using her power to close the portal. But they can't close the portal until Will is free of this monster. Well, they get Will free of the monster, and she then is trying to close the portal. As she's trying to close the portal, the other kids, Steve, Lucas, Dustin, all of them are like, we gotta hold off the Demigorgon dogs so they don't attack them, so that gives them time. But how do we do that? So they go down into the tunnel system, and they decide to set off an explosion, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. I can't remember at this point, man. But anyways, they decide to go down there and set a distraction, so all the Demogorgon dogs would go after them there. So they go down there, they do that, and the Demogorgon dogs come after them, and they start to get away. That's whenever I told you about the moment where they see Dart. You know, Dart's there, and they kind of get away. You know, he gives them some nougat, and they walk away type of thing. And they get away. They start to get away. Then all of a sudden, you see all the Demogorgons come flying, start running at them. They're like, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit. We're trying to climb out of the tunnel system, trying to climb out. But boom, they just run right by them. It's because now they're going to save the portal from closing. So they're going there, and you know, they get out all safe and sound, and it gave them just enough time for Eleven and Hopper to do what they needed to do. She then, using her power, then she puts out her other hand, and she's using even more power. Then she starts to levitate, and shit's just getting crazy. And I'm like, what is going on? Then the Demogorgons are all jumping at him, and Hopper's shooting him with his fucking M4, then pulls out a shotgun and shooting him with his shotgun. It's just like badass scene right there. Like Hopper, like I could see how he's going to be an awesome Hellboy. Just saying. So
just fucking laying the pipe to everything that's moving.
It's badass. Well, she closes the portal, and then all the Demogorgon dogs just fall. They're all dead. They just die.
He just blows the smoke off of his shotgun, puts it down, cracks a cold one.
They then show a scene of Dart laying on the ground, dead next to a Three Musketeer wrapper, and that's where my brother was like, R.I.P. Dart, you know, hashtag nougat.
Rest in spaghetti, never forgetting.
So, you know, that happens. 11 saved the day again, essentially. Will's back to being normal, per se, you know.
Quote, unquote, PTSD.
Yeah.
Randomly goes into grainy footage.
I mean,
Vietnam flashbacks.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. I mean, the scene ends where they're at a dance at the high school, and Dustin is like, you know, he's all dressed up. He does his hair all slick and neat, and you know, he's looking. He asks a couple girls to dance, and none of them want to dance. So he goes over and is like real sad, sitting on the bench or on the bleachers, and Mike's sister Nancy, you know, sees it, and she's all like, oh, you know, that's kind of sad. So she goes over and like, you want to dance? You know, now first off, an older girl who's smoking hot, you know, asks Dustin to dance, and he's like, he looks
behind him.
Yeah, basically is how it is. He's like, really? He's like wiping the tears because he was crying because he was like, sad.
It was weird, the roof's leaking and just happened to fall on my face like perfectly.
So she's like, you know, they start to go dance, and he's like, what do I do? She's like, put your hand here, put your hand in there, dancing, and she goes, you know, just so you know, you've always been one of my, you know, out of my brother's friends, you've been my favorite. You know, so she's like lifting his spirits.
Yeah,
which is like,
and now he's full-blown hard.
But you also then see all of these girls that are out there looking at him like, really? Like, she's dancing with him? Like, what do we know? What does she know that we don't? Type of thing. So it's like, you know, she just bumped his cred up a little bit, which is impressive. Then you have Lucas.
Oh, man,
Lucas
I wish like real life worked like that.
You have Lucas and Max dancing, and then they kiss.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. Will is dancing with some random girl that comes up to him. Now the whole season, or the beginning of the season before all the shit happened to him, he was made fun of being called Zombie Boy because you know, he came back from the dead, essentially is what people were saying, because not that everybody knows what happened, but he was missing, you know, that's what people knew, so they thought he was dead, and then he came back, so they call him Zombie Boy. So he's made fun of. So a girl actually comes up to him and asks him to dance, so he's all excited and happy, and he's dancing.
Does the Thriller dance?
No, unfortunately there was no Thriller dance. I was really hoping for it. But then you have Mike, and Mike is standing there all sad because he doesn't have anybody because he wants 11. Like, that's who he wants to be with him. And Hopper, you know, comes through, and 11 shows up at the dance, and, you know, they're
coming clutch.
Yeah, you know, they get on the dance floor and they're dancing, you know. So all the kids have this happy ending. The camera pans out from the high school or from the school, and then all of a sudden the screen starts to flip upside down, and you're now in the upside down, and you see the shadow monster above the school in the upside down, and then it ends.
So season 3.
Oh, we're definitely in season 3. Yeah. Look, I thought this season was spectacular. Was it as good as the first season? No, I wouldn't say it was as good as the first season, but it was
it can keep par with the first season.
Exactly. It was good. I enjoyed it a lot.
It sounded good.
There was an episode, the one where 11 goes to Chicago. That is a filler episode, kind of. It really starts to develop her character, but it's an entire episode where we don't see any of the other characters. It's just 11 and these characters that she's meeting. So that was kind of weird. It felt a bit strange at first, but strange. But that kind of stuff happens, and it's cool. The directors, the Duffer Brothers, basically have said, like, look, we're trying something different. We're getting a little bold. We want to try something different if this would work. So that's kind of what they did there. Besides that, the season was good. Check it out. It's on Netflix now. I liked it. I know Colton's going to like it when he watches it.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm going to like it. I like weird shit like that.
I plan on watching the whole series again at some point here in the near future because I just want to get it all. Like, I want to see how it plays out if you watch it all together at one time. So I will be doing that shortly. But I got nothing else there, Colton, and everybody there. I got nothing else. This has been a pretty long episode, actually.
I have a couple things. I'm interested for the 3 games I have sitting on my desk.
Oh, what do you got?
Super Mario Odyssey.
That just came out.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
That just came out.
And Wolfenstein 2.
That just came out.
The New Order. Or the New Colossus. Sorry.
The New Colossus. You haven't played either of them or either of those 3 yet.
No, while we were recording, I literally was taking the plastic off the cases.
I can't wait to see Assassin's Creed. I've been wanting to see that. I want to see Super Mario Odyssey so bad.
I know. I'm pissed. I forgot my Switch.
Yeah. So, but I want to see that.
Wolfenstein. Out of the 3, I've heard Wolfenstein's really good. Super Mario's really good. I haven't heard anything about Assassin's Creed.
I mean, it won Best in Show at E3. So
I've heard one thing from a kid that I'm friends with on Facebook. And he's just a dick. Mm-hmm. Like, if it's not Call of Duty, he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
He was like, I just wasted my money on a game. I'm like, just because you play Call of Duty, you think the campaigns are good in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You have awful taste in music, and you should just go die. But I'll probably play it a little bit tonight, to be honest.
Cool.
When I should be watching Rebels.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that here in a few minutes. Well, I will be at least.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I got nothing else. You have anything else?
No.
Okay. I guess... Ow. I just fell.
Fell.
From us here at the Remote Control, I've been Robert.
And I've been this guy.
Take it easy, everyone.